everybody, and Mom. Welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Tuesday. How are you, Neil?
I'm great. It's finally feeling like it's cooling down a little bit, at least today. So
That's right. We're having a moment, probably thanks to a hurricane, unfortunately. But whatever. You got to enjoy the silver linings when you get them, I think.
That's right.
Today's the 31st.
It's still humid as heck, though. So there's.
You're right. Today's the 31st. So we're right on the doorstep of September, which you know what that means. It's almost a new month is really all that really means. But so that's not that exciting. Probably should have written a better copy for that. Hey, all right. But it's kind of been a slow tech week. You and I were talking about this earlier. From a tech news perspective, it's kind of been like meh, which is normally, I think, a good thing. But there is definitely some buildup. We know that Apple, the rumor mill continues to swirl around Apple iPhones and what that's going to look like. And the new Apple Watch Series 7, is that going to look like this? Is there going to be satellite communications in the iPhone? I'm like, what? Just kind of like some interesting little like background chatter. But as far as like the real hardcore stuff, not a lot. But Neil's been kind enough to give us this selection of I guess somewhat tech news of things that kind of caught our eye. And first up is, or this is kind of like long overdue according to some people, but Windows 11, right?
Yeah, so it'll be first released on the 5th of October. Like all Windows upgrades, it gets rolled out in phases. So you may not be the first person to get it, but it is coming. So yeah, most people probably have a free upgrade to 11, which is kind of neat. If you're on 10, that is. So that's pretty neat. Interestingly, they're not rolling with all of the features that they said are coming to 11. So that's a little awkward, I think. Specifically something that they've been touting for a long time. And as like a key feature is that they were bringing Android apps to Windows 11, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be available when it releases. So like, what's the point? But yeah, one thing that I did find interesting is the timeline for support of Windows 10 is very short, I thought. Mm-hmm. So they will be supporting Windows until October 14th of 2025. So it's only really like 4 years, which maybe if I go back and look at the other like support for what they do for their other things, but it just kind of feels short. And I know they want to upgrade everybody to 11 and all of that jazz, but I don't know, it just feels short for businesses to like kind of jump on that train. As we know, like enterprise systems take a long time to upgrade because they're very ingrained and sticky, right? So I don't know. It seems quick, but maybe if I went back and looked at other things, like other upgrade paths that they had, maybe it's right on par with what they were doing. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think part of maybe what you're feeling is how long it took to get. I was going to say get rid of. That has a negative connotation, but how long it took them to like stop supporting Windows XP. Like you think about like that was talk about a clinger. Stage 5 clinger was Windows XP in the enterprise, right?
I mean, they supported Vista for a long time too.
And Vista, right? And I think while they did that, they did not like it.
Yeah.
So I think, but you know what? Market. I suspect that as we get closer to that October date in 2025, probably even like a year or two before then, we're going to hear about like that being extended out, or they'll offer some sort of pathway where it's like, for some amount of money at the enterprise scale, you can buy into some kind of specialized support or something for it. But I think this is meant to kind of put people on notice, and it seems like it has.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I had a Windows machine, I'd probably upgrade anyway, but one, because I just want to see what they're doing. But yeah, and there's obviously ways to downgrade if you don't like it, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. In other news, I feel like we always have to talk a little bit about Apple and Google.
That's right.
And this one's kind of interesting, right? So it looks like so there's been kind of like this resurgence of activity where they're saying like, look, you can't lock devs and then their customers really into like forcing them to go through your payment systems. Like you're already jacking up the price of these things. You're taking a huge cut. You're forcing it to like payment process. There's no other way to do this. So you basically have to have a credit card or some sort of credit or something like that. So it's like if they don't go through that specific mechanism, that you can't be published on their app stores. But this has been an interesting turn, right? I never thought I'd see the day, but we're starting to see some legislation come out that's kind of forcing their hand on this.
Yeah, for sure. So South Korea is the first country to pass something basically saying that, like, hey, you can't restrict developers to your built-in payment system, which is pretty crazy, and is definitely kind of like, I think, going to be a domino effect. So yeah, I mean, that's really cool. One of the things, obviously, neither company is happy about this, Apple nor Google. They're saying the same old things that they always say, like, we use this to keep the platform up and running and things. And I definitely see some of that. I can see where they're coming from a little bit, but I think where they're going to make their money is they're just going to jack up the developer price for the developers, which pros and cons, I guess. But yeah, so I mean, I think this is really neat. Obviously larger companies like Epic are going to be like, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It remains to be seen if this will be a good thing for small devs. I think, I think you'll have to have more data to see, does this actually make sense, and where are they going to come in with price point on their developer licensing that they make you have to put out things on their platform. So yeah, we'll see. But generally, I do think that this is a step in the right direction. I don't think that neither Apple nor Google should have the power to restrict. But I mean, that's part of the contract that you sign as well, terms and agreement that you agree to. So there is that. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think that this is good generally, but we'll see how Apple and Google respond is kind of where my head's at.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, yeah, it could definitely pave the way for some interesting things like, Bitcoin payments and stuff like that, like alternate currencies and things like that. But let's not forget that this is also then legislating how a company behaves. So it's like, there definitely comes with some sharp edges involved there. But I agree. I think it's generally good for the industry, but at what cost, right? So,
right.
I think really good points, and that was good thoughts on that, Neil. So thanks for that. It's becoming a regular spot for us, and it's something to do with T-Mobile and being hacked. This time, I think I kind of summarized this as the hacker that claimed responsibility for the attack basically tells us what we already suspected. Basically that their security is awful, right? And that there's so many open points, he's actually kind of revealed, and they already kind of figured out, I think, how he got in and how he was kind of doing what he was doing. But I think underneath the hood of this is that there's like a lot more going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. So he found over like the course of a week, so this wasn't like something that took him very long to figure out. He found an exposed router that T-Mobile had that was connected to the internet, completely unprotected. And basically that gave him access to stored credentials that gave him access to more servers with more customer information on them. And I'm just like, how, like, okay, like no encryption, like nothing, like, I just like, come on. Like, the information that he could get to was like all customer information, like tens of millions of customers. It's just like, come on. Now, yeah, I just don't get how a company as large as T-Mobile can just like not care about their security, because clearly like they don't.
Yeah. I mean, not enough, right? I mean, obviously, it's tough, right? I know it's a constant cat and mouse game, but this wasn't that. This was not like, oh, I missed a patch, or something where I could really kind of sympathize, with maybe I guess operational security, but man, they're just layers of not good here. So you know what, T-Mobile, if you need a outside consultant, maybe to do a penetration test or something, I'd be happy to put together a team. Sounds like you need some attention. It won't be you and I, though. It'll be like we'll just have to bring other people in. But I don't know. They just sounded far too easy. Like it reminds me of like some of like the script kiddie stuff that you could do. Like this was like way too easy to accomplish. But that's how it goes. Also, in kind of rough software news, right? We're seeing a lot of reports of this. Tesla on autopilot crashing into parked cars. This time, in this particular instance, though, yikes, a police car on the side of the road.
Yeah, this isn't actually the first time that it's hit, or that Tesla's autopilot has hit emergency responders either. I think it says there's 11 crashes since 2018 with first responders, which is oof. Like big oof. So yeah, I mean, 17 people have been injured. One has been killed. Obviously, the National Transportation Safety Board has investigations into Tesla around this and their autopilot. So yeah, it continues to be not good there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just kind of shows you again how far off we are, I think, and how there's been a lot of good and positive momentum in that direction, but there's still a long ways to go, I think, before we have true full autonomous driving.
Yeah, that we can trust, right, and actually relax in. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I will say this was these stories have been pretty eye-opening for me, because I've definitely been my mantra has always been trust the Tesla, but I can say more and more I'm finding, which is good, that I should be paying even closer attention, right, and not relax as much probably as I have. So it's disappointing though, man.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Again, like we're supposedly going to have full autonomous driving by the end of the year, right?
Which year? I don't know.
Right, exactly. Let's move the goalpost again. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I hope that we can and Tesla can get it together and continue to move forward, and I think they will. But yeah, I mean, it's not looking great right now. Like, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Random question for you. So at the top, we talked a little bit about the iPhone 13. Is there something that they could release that you would be like, okay, now game on? Or is this, I just don't even know what I'm looking for anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on my iPhone X, right? So I still on my iPhone X. It works great. Battery life's still good. Does everything I need it to do. Completely paid off at this point. So it's like, why? Like they'd have to come out with something pretty big for me to upgrade. And I don't even know what that is. Like you said, like, I mean, maybe like reliable 5G, maybe that would get me going on it, but I don't think so. Like, yeah, I mean, maybe if they would like nuke my battery like they did with their 6s or 5s or whatever, I would maybe upgrade. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Right? Like, right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe stop I hit like the upgrade life of the phone, but I mean, it does everything I need it to do. So, I mean, it makes calls. I can text people, and generally I can do anything that I want to on it. So I don't really know what it would be. Maybe eventually I'd want a better camera for travel and pictures, but my wife has a 12, so we just use that, right? So I don't know.
Yeah. I will say the only thing they've really come out with lately that I've been kind of geeked about was in the last generation, which was the 12s, right? They had kind of like the LiDAR sensor, so you could actually do 3D scanning and stuff. And so, as someone who likes to occasionally 3D print, the idea of being able to 3D scan something in that level of detail, shrink it down, and then print it, I think is kind of cool. But again, for most people, who cares, right? But I just wondered because I always find myself thinking, what would the killer thing announcement need to be? And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. I'm fine with that. There's been plenty of those, but yeah, I don't even know what I'm looking forward to anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I would want a new one is to like test when I write software, right?
Right, exactly.
I'm like, is that really a valid reason to go out and buy a new
Depends on who's
$1,000
paying.
phone?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Right. Am I paying, or is the or is the company paying? I guess.
Right, exactly.
I
I guess that's the way that I would look at it too. But yeah, but I don't know. It'd have to be something pretty big, I think, for me to be like, I've got to go get that. I'm kind of surprised that they're not skipping the number 13 too. But particularly because they decided to use like X for 10, which felt really weird. And then they went back to numbers for 11 and 12. And now we're at 13. And 13 obviously has like negative connotations for a lot of cultures, positive ones actually for others. But yeah, it just feels weird that they're not skipping 13, but whatever. But yeah, so I don't know what it would be. How about you guys let us know what it would be? Let us know in the comments what would get you excited about the new generation of iPhones. And maybe we are missing something. Maybe Matt and I are missing something that we should be excited about. So let us know if that's the case. But with that, we're going to go ahead and end it. So thank you for joining us on this edition of Tech Talk Tuesday. If you'd like to read up on any of the information that Matt and I talked about today, you can find it in the description below. And while you're there, go ahead and give us a like, comment, or subscribe. That way you don't miss any future editions of Tech Talk Tuesday. And you can see our beautiful smiling faces every week. If you want your question answered live on air, you can hit Matt Ray up on Twitter. His Twitter handle is @TheMattRay because, again, he is so unique that there is only one of them. And then mine is @Neil Tardy because that is all I can remember. I can't get fancy with it. So hit us up. We'd be more than happy to answer your question on the air. We go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So please join us live. We love to interact with you guys. And with that, we'll see you next Tuesday.